Okay, so you're live now.
Okay.
Well, don't start yet.
No, we won't start yet. We'll let everybody have a chance to get logged in.
Y'all are gonna be awesome. You can do it.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Thanks, Stephen.
What? To flip it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think that's the...
Yeah, that's to flip it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Do it. We'll give everybody about a minute or so to get logged in.
Oh my goodness, you already have 100 people.
Oh, you're lying.
I'm just kidding.
Be nice. Tell everybody to log in. Not if you're driving though.
We're up to 5, so let's give it... It's 1 o'clock right now. Let's give it another minute.
Yeah, give it a couple. From what I've seen, once you go, it actually sends a notification out. So.
I don't know, I gotta pull it up on my end too.
I just now got the notification on my phone, so
We're up to 8 now.
yeah. Dead silence.
Would you like some elevator music?
Yes, please.
Patricia Jones says hi.
Hi, Patricia. That'd be kind of cool for next time. Let's get some elevator music, hold music in the background as we're waiting.
All right, we're up to 9.
Let's go when we hit 10. Let's get one more person logged in. Hopefully a driver.
So I'm going to, well, you want to wait till the 10th?
Yeah.
Okay. Riley says she's looking forward to the promised joke.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. Man.
Should have been prepared.
Well, I had one. And it doesn't need to be a good joke either, from what I understand. It just needs to be a mediocre joke, so that way you're not expecting.
We'll give you a second. I'm going to turn it over because we have 13 now.
All right, go ahead. I'll let you start.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Facebook Live. Today we have Network Optimization Manager Chris Stevens. He's going to talk about a few different things: security practices, macros, retention bonus, hazmat checklists. And as usual, send in any questions that you guys have and we'll get as many of them answered. Chris?
Thanks, Brittany. So I was put on the spot before I get into the content of today's Facebook Live. I was told I had to say a joke, but the good thing is I didn't have to be a good joke, just had to be a mediocre joke. So, food for thought for everybody. Wouldn't it be ironic if Popeye's chicken was fried in olive oil? Ha ha ha. I know. See?
Hilarious.
Mediocre. Didn't have to be good.
We
Okay.
expect another one now.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. I've got about 6 or 7 topics to cover. It shouldn't take longer than maybe 15, 20 minutes, depending on the amount of questions that come in. Feel free to send them in. Brittany will let me know when they come in, and we'll answer them to the best of our abilities, or get you an answer if I don't have it right away. So the first thing I want to start off with was I want to give all the drivers a big thank you. These last 2 weeks, 3 weeks give or take, have been really rough in terms of weather. Obviously, we have every Facebook Live for the past couple weeks. We've announced it. Russ Thompson has sent multiple reminders out. We've sent Qualcomm messages out, and we've been very, very vocal in terms of making sure you're prepared to go in these cold weather environments. And overall, from what I've heard from the shop and from Vonda and Wade, You guys did a very, very good job of being prepared. We were very on top of this, and we had very minimal damage in terms of what we had to go out and send trucks for to recover, or trucks that need to be fixed or in the shop, stuff of that nature. So, so thank you all for being on top of it, for being prepared, for being vocal to your driver managers and making sure that you're giving them a heads up, saying we're going to go around somewhere, we can't go anywhere, whatever the case might be. So, so thanks for staying safe out there. The second thing is security practices. It's not going to be as elaborate as it sounds, but we've had some feedback recently in terms of drivers posting certain things on Facebook or other social media platforms. And one of the things that we want to make sure you guys are not doing is violating some of those protocols. One of the biggest things is taking a picture of your truck and letting everybody know where you're at, or what you're hauling, stuff of that nature. When in doubt, just call in and ask the question. Obviously, you don't want to be advertising where you're currently at, what you're currently hauling. Obviously, that's a direct violation. So just be aware of what you're posting on your social media platforms. And if you ever have a question about it, just simply call in real fast, see if it's okay or not. Because the last thing we want to do is jeopardize you or the company for just posting something that you may not have been aware of. That's about it for the security practices. The third thing is the macro number 7. So lately, or I say lately, in about a month or two ago, we added a couple questions to the macro 7, the empty call. And that empty call asked you 3 questions at the bottom of it. It says, were you treated with respect? Did you drop the trailer? The trailer that you dropped, was it DOT legal? And were the dispatch instructions correct? If you answer yes to all of those, nothing happens. I'm glad we got you the right information. Everything went like it was supposed to. If you answered no to any of those questions, we have some automation in the background that goes to certain people so they can address these issues, whether it's the trailer for breakdown or the CSRs for directions and whatnot. I want to show you a quick picture, and Brittany, I don't know how well you can zoom in on this or not.
Let me see.
Or I can move it up and down, whatever it takes.
I'll just come in closer to you.
Okay. So I've highlighted the area in the comments section. There's only 4 lines on your current Qualcomm to answer this question, and you may be required, or you may have more information needed than these 4 lines. So what I'd like to say to start off with is, if you can fill in all the information in regards to why you answered no right here, please do. If you think you need more information than what is on here, simply right behind this, send a free form message and say, attention driver manager, attention CSR, whatever the case is related to your answer of no, and put down what the right instructions are, or put down why the trailer is not DOT legal, okay? And send us a free form message behind it, letting us know what happened so we can address it right away. One of the things we're finding is that we're not getting enough information up front to be able to help you and solve the problem, whether it's at the customer or if the directions aren't right, stuff of that nature. So if you can, just quickly fill in those blanks and put some comments in there, and that'll definitely help us out to verify the directions or talk with the customer or whatnot. Any questions yet?
Not yet, no.
Not yet? Okay. This is where I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to go back to this a couple times, and the final explanation will be at the end. But take a look behind me on the board. This 877 line on the very, very top. I want to make sure that all of you guys have that written down on a piece of paper, have it in your phones, whatever. We're going to come back to this at the very tail end of it, but I want you guys to all write this down, and I'll explain here at the end of it, okay?
Lisa Brandon says, what if we don't drop the trailer?
Lisa, good question. So if you don't drop the trailer and you live offload it, and you find out that the trailer is not DOT legal when you live offload it, again, you'll have to send a breakdown message so we can get it addressed. When you answer no, you'll follow it up with a breakdown message behind it. So at some point, you will eventually drop the trailer, loaded or empty, and so you'll have to say no at that point.
Jason Matthews says, please add more space for inputting piece counts.
Okay, we could absolutely do that. Jason, how many more characters do you think you might need to accommodate that? I know sometimes we get in the weeds and it's like 45,000 pieces. So your input's welcome. Let me know what you have an idea on and how many more characters we need, and we can make that happen. I'll write that down too. Okay. And then also, if you guys have other questions about the macros, you have some other input in terms of you want to see something different. The last time I did the Facebook Live, we talked about macros, and a couple of you had some good ideas in terms of like the container field. So we appreciate that feedback. Keep it coming.
Lisa says, do we say no if we don't drop the trailer and answer yes when we do drop it?
You actually answer yes or no based off of what the trailer condition is. So, for instance, if it's a drop trailer, you would say no, of course, if it's not DOT legal. If you live offload it and take it with you to the next location, yes, you're correct. You're not technically dropping the trailer, and you can answer no then, but you're going to follow up with a breakdown macro so you can indeed get the trailer fixed. So if you answer yes when you live offload it, but then send a breakdown message behind it, that would also suffice. Okay. All right. So the macros we're good with. Crossing that off. For military shipments, one of the concerns that's come up recently is matching the services on your GBOL in 1907 with what we send you in your dispatch. Brittany, time for another close-up. So I'm going to show you an example for those of you that may not be completely aware. This is an example of a GBOL in a 1907. I have highlighted the areas where your services will be located, right here in the middle under notes and annotations, marks and annotations. Okay, that's location number 1. Within the whole bill of lading itself, you might have 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. All depends on how big the shipment is. You will notice down here at the bottom of your GBOL that there will be some services in there as well. You can find them there. And the last location on the 1907, you'll see here number 2. It says I'm trying to read backwards. Protective services requested. Gives you a list of your services there as well. Just ensure that those services match what we sent you. If at any point there's something that is on here that we didn't send you, or we sent you and it's not on here, you need to contact your DM right away so we can get that addressed. Because we want to make sure that without a shadow of a doubt that you turn on the DITs if it needs to be turned on or not turned on. We've had questions in the past about that, and so again, just double check your services, look at the GBOL on that. If you can't find them, simply call in, ask someone real fast, and we'll definitely point you in the right direction and make sure you get those services marked off. It's going by faster than I thought. So far, so good.
Jason commented back in. He says 6 figures would work.
Okay. Jason, 6 it is. Okay. Next item is the hazmat checklist. So, for those of you who have already experienced this with your driver manager, this is an example of the checklist. No need to really zoom in on it. I know you guys don't actually get this, but this is what your driver manager actually will go over with you anytime you pick up a hazmat load. So, kind of the basic instructions is you pick up a hazmat load, placarded or not. You're going to want, your DM is going to want you to call in so they can go over the checklist. And this does not matter whether you're at the shipper and pick it up or you're at a drop yard and pick it up. Anytime you pick up a load that is considered a hazmat load, you need to call your driver manager so they can go through these 8 questions with you. For the most part, from what I'm understanding, this actually goes relatively fast. Most of the things that they're finding are in order, and They sign off on it, and then you're off on your way. It does require the phone call, and kind of the premise behind this, why we're doing this, is because as Safety mentioned a couple weeks ago, we're continuing to follow our hazmat score, and we want to continue to trend in the right direction, which obviously is less violations. And this is going to help us as a company and you as a driver to ensure that when you go down the road that hopefully we've got everything in order and you won't get that violation if you're stopped by the DOT officer. Okay. So which one do I talk about first? Phone line or retention bonus? I saved kind of the last two, or the two for last here. Let's talk about the phone line. Okay. So the phone line behind me here, we've had, for those of you who've been around with us for longer than maybe 2 or 3 years, some of you came from SLT, some of you came from Tri-State, and some of you came from R&R. And as we consolidated companies, we had to do our best to consolidate the phone lines. Regardless of which company you came from, you were given a line when you were in orientation to call into your driver manager, call into your CSR if you had one, call into somebody within the company. And we consolidated a bunch of those numbers to one main line. One main line so that way you can have someone on the phone live. You have the choice to leave a voicemail if you like, but the point was that majority of the time, you as a driver, when you're trying to call in, you want to get someone on the phone if you even can't get your driver manager on the phone. So behind me here on the very top is the 877 line. All the numbers that we had from all 3 companies filter to this one line. Some of you may be very familiar with this, and some of you may be looking at this number for the first time and not realizing what it is. This is our main auto attendant line. Without getting too much into the weeds, it's very, very simple. You dial that number 24/7. And within the options, you can reach just about 80 to 90% of the people within this company. For the purpose of our conversation, most of the time you're trying to reach your driver manager or CSR. So what I've quickly outlined on the top half here is if you dial your 877 line, you hit option number 1, you will receive the CSR pool. It'll say if you want to dial the CSRs for booking a freight. And if you're a driver from the ACO company, you will hit option 1 again. If you're a driver from the Tri-State company, you will hit option 3. That will ring to all the CSRs, whether it's in Joplin or Glendale, or anybody else that is working from the house. It'll ring their phone, and one of those CSRs will pick up the phone and help you out. If you're trying to reach a driver manager, you can dial number 2. And then your sub-menu, if you're trying to reach a driver manager for ACO, the drum company, you hit number 1, or you hit number 3 to reach a Tri-State driver manager. Again, regardless if that driver manager is in Joplin or Glendale, all of their phones will ring at the same time. First one to pick it up wins. Now some of you are like, well, I still want to call my driver manager directly. And that's fine. You can still dial the 877 line, and right at the very, very beginning of this, it says if you have an extension you want to dial at any given moment, you can just dial that extension. You dial that driver manager CSR's extension, that 3-digit or 4-digit extension, and it'll go straight to that person's phone directly. Why do we bring this up? Again, some drivers were saying that they couldn't reach people. Keep in mind, if you're trying to get somebody on the phone, this is going to be your best option because it'll ring multiple people at the same time. And then that person can turn around and get you to your driver manager if he or she didn't pick up the phone originally. Okay? Some of you also probably still have your driver manager's direct line, whether it's a 623 number or an 877 number or whatever it might be. Okay? Those numbers still work. You can still use those numbers if you so choose, but again, keep in mind, it's just ringing one phone, and you're going to be at the mercy if that driver manager is actually sitting at his or her desk. You might get their voicemail. So I would just say, I would caution you that if you're just trying to leave a voicemail, or you without a shadow of a doubt, you just want to talk to him or her, maybe you can use that line and you'll be okay. But here, you'll at least get a body on the phone. We also put this phone number at the end of every Qualcomm message that we send out to you guys. So in the event that you forgot it, you didn't write it down, look at your Qualcomm message, whether it's a dispatch information, a free form message, anything that came from us to you will have that 877 line at the tail end of that message. So again, I'm almost treating this like an infomercial. You're going to see that line that phone number over and over and over and over again, because this is a line that we're trying to make sure everybody has, and that way, without a shadow of a doubt, you can call it, you can reach somebody. After hours, the same rule applies. You still dial the 877 line, and you dial 1 for operations or 2 for the shop. Some people have said, well, as soon as I call that line, it says you reach our office after hours. That may be the case. Don't hang up. You can still get someone on the phone by hitting 1 for operations, and whoever's on duty will go to that person's phone. So don't hang up, hit the number, and you'll get someone on the phone, depending on what day of the week and time of the day that you're calling in on. So I'm waiting for some questions to flood in about the phone number or something.
We kind of had some connection problems for a minute, but it still shows live and
Okay.
going, so I don't know.
Okay, I saw Gina came over and was probably going to mention something about that. So hopefully all of you caught that. I don't know where we had
Yeah.
it.
Hey guys, comment in and let us know if it's working now before we continue, or if you guys are still having issues, because we're showing everything's okay on our end.
We'll see if we get some feedback here.
Yeah, we'll kind of let it
Yeah.
sit for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I show people are watching and it looks fine on my end.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, everyone's saying it's working now.
Okay.
Maybe it has to do with moving it around. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
it may have been. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We'll find out when we play it back. So, okay. Any other questions before I go to the last topic?
I don't have any questions
Nothing
at
yet?
this time.
Okay. All right. Well, don't be shy, guys. If you got more questions, feel free to send them in. The last topic I have to talk about is the retention bonus. I know recruiting, Michael Fisk, they, I think it was last week or the week before, I forget when they mentioned this last, or maybe Jeanette didn't. They came out with the January retention bonus, and I get the pleasure of being the person this time to announce February's bonus. And I can't tell you the names, but I can tell you some details about it. Number one, let's start off with this. So the retention bonus is basically a 2-page document. If you're not familiar with it, get with your driver manager or get with driver payroll. They can get you this form in your hands. That way you can read it, you can understand what it is, and you can understand how it is you can qualify for. How you can qualify for it. Yes, it is for the company drivers, team drivers, solo drivers, and even T-solos. Make sure you understand how you qualify, because that could mean the difference between getting something and getting nothing. So this month's qualifiers, we had 12 qualifiers. We're going to be paying out roughly $70,000 in total money to these 12 drivers, an average of about $5,800 a piece. So that's a pretty good chunk of change for 1 year worth of driving, just as a bonus for being here, having a good record, all that good stuff. Again, all the eligibility requirements will be in here, but I'm glad to see that this list is going to continue to grow. We definitely want to retain you. We want to do the best we can, and so all the feedback that you guys are giving us, we want to make sure we're acting on, and we want to ensure that you're working for one of the best companies out there. This is definitely something I've never heard of until Mike brought it up, and I'm glad we're doing it. So we want to continue to do it, and hopefully this list continues to get longer and longer, month after month, and then year after year, of course. And just because I'm able to say it without a name, I can tell you the highest one on this list is going to get a $6,700 paycheck. So I wish I got that. So definitely a good chunk of change. And if you got any questions, you can reach out to your driver manager. Jeanette Ditton, I believe. If I'm wrong, she's going to slap me later, but she can also probably help some questions about the retention bonus. So yeah, so thank you.
Chris, not sure if this has anything to do with what we're talking about today, but
Okay.
Jason Matthews wants to know, how do we get 72-mile-per-hour trucks for the entire fleet, not just ATCO trucks?
I cannot answer that question. I'm not sure how you go about doing that. I know we have our own set speed limit at this time. I don't know all the details about it, but what I can do, Jason, is I can get back with you on that, or have someone get back with you in terms of if that's even possible, how you go about doing it. So I don't have a good answer for you, but I'm going to write it down and make sure we get back to you.
Dave wants to know, how do we get the qualifications paper?
So the qualifications paper is real easy. Probably the fastest way is if you send a Qualcomm message to your driver manager and just say, I'm requesting the retention bonus program. Jeanette Ditton, or even your driver manager, if they give it to him or her directly, we can just quickly send you an email on it. Wouldn't take very long. Yeah, that's simple, really.
We have another question. Any way we can see and keep up with how many miles we have so far for the bonus?
Not currently. So we're working on that. This has been a project in the working for a couple months now, and we're working, as you may already know, we're working with a company to create a driver app. That driver app for you guys, one of the items is to get exactly what you're requesting, to be able to see how many miles that you're having tally up every single week or month, however it is you want to see it. And that way it's at the palm of your hands. Right now, you got to send a Qualcomm message, you got to ask us what it is, we can tell you what it is. But we're trying to get that interaction on the driver app so that way you can have it. So at the moment, the answer is no. Hopefully in the near future, the answer will be yes. How many people do we have, just out of curiosity?
We've got 20.
Nice.
Right now.
Nice. Let's see. It wouldn't be right if I didn't call out Vonda Cooper's name on Facebook Live, since she gave me like a nice list of items. I want to make sure I touch base on all those, and I'm pretty sure I did. We talked about the directions. We talked about the winter months. Okay, here's a good one. So, she wanted to remind everybody that as you guys are already well aware, you guys are the face of the company. You guys go and talk to the customers every day. We don't. You see the shippers, you see the receivers, and you truly are the face of our company. So when you're going in these locations, your actions represent our company. So we know we have a lot of professional drivers out there. We want you guys to continue to keep that up. Whatever we can do to help you out in that manner, we absolutely will. And so far everything is good, and we want to keep it that way. So it goes back to that question: were you treated with respect? Just like we expect you guys to treat the customer with respect, we expect the customer to also treat you with respect as well. So continue to do that. I know you guys will. I haven't heard of many instances where that's not the case. So keep up the good work on that. Yeah, that's about all I can really say on that topic. I think I basically covered her last item already. So again, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, couple of questions still coming in about retention bonus.
Okay.
It's on all miles?
Retention bonus, yes.
Okay. A couple questions coming in about if their miles are on their pay stubs. If it shows on their pay stubs.
I don't recall. I haven't seen a driver stub in a while, so I have to get back to you on that one. If it's, I can say this much: if it's not on there, I know it's something that we've talked about doing, because that was an approach that we wanted to go with in order for you guys to see it in live time, and it would keep a running tally and then drop off when your eligibility date hit, and then it would start over again. we don't exactly know if we're going to continue to go down that route or not. But I think for the most part, we're focusing on the driver app. That way you can get your miles from that way. But on the driver stub, I think the answer is no, but not 100% positive.
And I think there's a little bit of confusion between retention bonus and performance bonus.
Yes, so there is a big difference. So your performance bonus is a weekly bonus. There's a set of criteria that you have to meet for that. Someone told me a while back, if I just do my job, I get my performance bonus. And essentially that's true. If you turn in your paperwork on time, don't service fail a load, that's considered your fault, of course. Some other items in the mix as well, which seem to be pretty common sense items. You get your performance bonus every week, and that's a weekly thing. It doesn't carry over week to week to week. It's whatever you did this week, do you get it, yes or no, and then that week's done, and then you go to the next week. Your retention bonus is a yearly bonus. It's a one time a year if you meet the qualifications, of course, to qualify for that. But it's based off of all the miles you drove within your 1 year time frame, and you get paid out once a year for that bonus. So that's the main difference. Hopefully I explained that good enough. But if you have any other questions on it, let me know. But I think the big thing is just, again, get this paper in your hand. It's labeled the Retention and Production Bonus Program. Again, if you don't have it, ask your DM for it. Send a Qualcomm message in, and we'll get it over to your email right away. Okay? Any more questions? I was hoping for one more question. Just one more question. Where's Jackie and Chuck Hensel at?
I didn't see them joining today.
Yeah, they're always on here. Okay. Jason, if you have another question, I know you've been asking some questions if he's still on.
Let's see, where's that?
Well, she's looking. No?
So do DMs talk to their drivers when they don't get the performance bonus and explain the reasoning behind not getting the performance bonus for that week?
You should be. Part of our rule of thumb is you shouldn't be surprised when you don't receive something, right? So when it's been deemed that you wouldn't qualify for the performance bonus for that particular week, then yes, your driver manager should contact you and let you know that you didn't qualify for your performance bonus for that week, and as to why you didn't qualify. That way it gives you the opportunity to either accept it, like, yep, it was my fault, move on, or it wasn't my fault, and maybe there's a chance to fix it and figure out if there was an error somewhere. So yes, the answer to that should be yes. Your DM should be reaching out to you and letting you know. A lot of times it's towards the end of that pay week, so there's not a whole lot of time to fix it right away. It all depends on when he or she contacts you about that. And so. Is that it?
Yep, I think that's it for now.
So?
Yep.
Okay. Well, guys, if you got any more questions after you see this, feel free to. You can call me directly if it's macro related. I mean, I can help answer any questions. So you can call me at any point. If I don't know the answer, I'll definitely get it for you. Jason, I got your items. I don't know who asked the question about the miles per hour on the truck. Do you happen to know that? I want to make sure I get that person's name.
Say again?
The 72 mile an hour truck.
Jason Matthews.
Oh, it was Jason too?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put Jason down on that one. And if any other questions come in, like I said, feel free to contact me and we'll get you the answers. So thank you all for joining, and look forward to next week.